Thank you. It's, I didn't know if it was gonna be cold in here or not. It's really warm. It's comfy. Thank you. I'm just looking at as tired as I feel. I didn't get home till my son's across until 10 o'clock. So, yeah, 5:30 came really early this morning.
Oh, yeah. And everything else is what?
Yeah.
Great.
5:30 off.
We have sound.
Thank
We
you,
are
Cody.
good. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. For those on the screen to see that we're looking at them, we have to look at the owl in the middle. But I see Mackenzie and Kirsten. Mackenzie's from the ballet, right? And then Kirsten is from Maine Academy of Modern Music. All right, welcome, everybody. We are ready to go. So we have a couple of agenda items to go through before we get to the grants. But once we get there, we will give everyone a moment to speak, and then we will deliberate and move right along. So happy Friday, happy spring. First item on the agenda is our April meeting minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Any concerns?
I move they be accepted as presented.
Second.
All right. Everybody in favor? Perfect. Report of chair, I don't have anything to report, and I think the bulk of our meeting today will be about grants, so we'll save the time for that. Financial report. Any questions? And you'll have it in your packet. I think the one thing to call out there is just the total number that we have left for the year, which is relevant for our conversation today. We've got $7,179.60. Great. Don't think we have to approve that, so we move right on. Committee reports. Grant committee.
Yeah, so should we, because that's gonna
I think
be
we'll
this,
do
or
the,
are we doing reports first?
this is reports first, so we'll
Okay.
just do super quick if you have anything, and then we'll move into the actual grant piece.
Right, so I guess the only thing to report out is that the grants committee did meet in between our last meeting and this one. We reviewed the grant applications that you have before you. And we requested a little bit more information from the ballet, which came to us. And they're here to join us if we have more questions. And then I think, you know, that's kind of it for the just report before we get into the adjudication.
Great. Cultural asset committee.
Yeah, I got a couple quick things. So we're into the story maps. Edits have been made. We're good.
Yay.
So we have one finished one, which is Bangor, Queen City of the East, that once had around 6,000 views over the past couple of years, so not doing too bad. We also have two unfinished ones. One's like a scavenger hunt one. They're very rough at the moment, so they were kind of ditched a couple of years ago, but they're still there. So that's something we can talk about in subcommittee. The other thing is I'll be sending around an email to all the subcommittee members to meet up because we have to go through the asset map and update all of the murals that have been added, that kind of stuff. So we'll be doing that in the next month or so.
Great,
Yeah.
that's very exciting. October, I have nothing to report. Once we know more about the budget, then we will meet. And events calendar committee. Same thing. I don't know that we have a chair of that committee, but that's it's fine. Same. Once we know the budget.
Has the budget meeting been set?
I think it's next Wednesday on May 8th.
May eighth? Okay,
Yeah.
it's Wednesday.
That's an agenda item and we will talk.
Oh,
about that at
okay,
the end of the
perfect.
meeting. Yep.
Oh, that's right there. Thank you.
All right. Review of grant applications. So what I'd like to do, I think, is have every applicant give them a moment to speak if they would like to say anything, right? That's what we did last fall as well. And everybody's here, so we can do that. So these are in no particular order, so don't feel any way about this order. But we'd love to hear from Mackenzie at the Bangor Ballet first. If you would like to take a moment to say some things about your application.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie D'Angelo from Bangor Ballet. I just want to say before English is not my first language, so if I say anything that is confusing or like it seems like, just let me know and I will rephrase it so that it makes a little more sense. We are asking for $5,000 to refund our costume shop. We were originally a youth ballet company. The majority of our costumes will not fit anyone over 110 pounds. We have been essentially reeling them back together with what we can do. They're 30 years old at this point. We've been able to purchase a few more. We've had them donated. But as we see in society today what's going on with body image, we're seeing an increased number of eating disorders. We're seeing girls who are trying to fit this narrative that they have to look a certain way to be involved in ballet. And we ourselves feel like we need to stop that from happening within our company by whatever means we can. So we would like that money we would like the commission to help us alleviate our production costs for our Bangor productions this year. Up to $5,000. I'm not sure what's available, but like whatever we can get, we would be incredibly grateful for. That will allow us to open up our own funding to have those costumes made. So the money that we get from this grant will be used in the Nutcracker at the Gracie Theater in Bangor this year. And we'll put it towards those two shows so we can keep our costs and our ticket prices accessible to the entire community, and we don't have to raise them to anything higher than what they are right now, which is $12 and $10.
Great. You already answered the one question that I had, which is about if you don't get the full 5,000, is any of it still possible and helpful? Does anybody have any other questions for Mackenzie? Great, thank you very much. Bangor Beautiful. And if you're in the room, we'll ask you, right, you've done this before, to sit at the table to speak so that the owl and the Zoom and the recording can capture what you're saying.
Hi, my name is Greg Edwards. I'm the Secretary and Treasurer of Bangor Beautiful.
And I'm Annette Dodd. I'm the president of Bangor Beautiful.
So our project, one of our projects this year is bringing the Color Wizard to Bangor. He's a pretty prolific muralist from Southern Maine. And we'll be installing a 2-story spray paint mural on the side of 116 Hammond Street. It's right above Utopia and the restaurants and Bangor Wine and Cheese. It's a very prominent, although bland wall. It's currently beige, has some graffiti on it, but otherwise it's a good structural wall with a good solid base on it. And so this mural will be visible from all of Hammond Street as you're looking up the hill, encouraging people to walk up the hill. You can even see it from the intersection of Main and Central Street. And it's going to be depicting the spring forest in Maine. So a lot of native species to try to encourage people to, think about nature and bring that into our urban areas to beautify and create connection with the environment. It's a part of a what we're calling a beautification blitz. We did this last year with Park Street, where we installed 2 murals within 1,000 feet of each other, and as well as planting trees. So this year we'll also be planting 17 trees at the top of Hammond Street near the former Ledbetter store, and installing a ground mural running from Main Street up past the post office. So there's going to be this really nice concentrated beautification effort of art and trees and the environment all in one spot. And it should really make a big impact, especially if you've been on Hammond Street the last 2 months. It's got a lot of rubble from the former Y building. It could use some beautification. And so this should make a really nice impact. Am I missing anything?
I think that's most of it.
I'm sorry, how much are you asking for?
We're asking for $5,000. It's around 18,000 to bring the muralist to Bangor, and then there's a few other costs. So this would be a good chunk of that.
Any questions, any other questions? Great, thank you. All right, next is Maine Academy of Modern Music.
Hi, good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, terrific. Thanks for inviting me to the meeting. My name is Kirsten Gilg. I am the development manager for the Maine Academy of Modern Music. We have had a presence in Bangor since 2018, offering music lessons and basically rock band mentorship in the community. We are a nonprofit organization that has basically two tracks, I guess. One, we do lessons for a fee, which is kind of standard. But since we're also a nonprofit, we also do subsidies for underserved kids that need to have some music in their lives that may not be able to afford it. We have come to you in the past asking for support for our community performances, primarily girls rock, and sometimes I think we talk about the Bangor Halloween concert that we give. This time the application, I made it a little broader, so I wanted to just test the water to see if that was okay, if that was too much information or not. But I kind of offered a kind of a larger view of our organization and what we do around this idea of serving underserved kids with music, and sort of the idea that the support that would be given would be kind of for our presence in Bangor year round. In the school year, that means after school music programs. During the summertime, that's our music camps program. And then these culminate in public performances that not only support the Bangor community, but we're at a point now with our organization that our Bangor teen bands are going into other communities. They were just at the Columbia Falls Smelt Fry last week, rocking that event. So we feel really good that we're able to kind of create this cultural trade with the music that we help build within the community. So we've got bands in Bangor now that are going to other communities to perform, which is really exciting for us. I hope it's exciting for Bangor too, that you're a cultural exporter of teen rock, which is pretty cool. So I'm really here just to answer questions if you have any. I thought, you know, we've been there for a while. I think a lot of, if you've got reviewers who've been at this before, they probably are kind of familiar with me and our application. So I hope that gives a nice overview. We're asking for $5,000. We could definitely work with whatever amount is offered to us. Thank you for your consideration.
Great, thank you. Any questions? All right. Then next up is Mary Lee.
Hello. Hi. Good to see everybody and to be here. My name's Marilee, and I'm an artist and graduating MFA and intermediate student over at the University of Maine at Orono. And my application was based just up the road from the proposed mural. I've been working since February with Alloy Contracting, who won the bid to do the demolition of the old YMCA, and through a series of meandering conversations, constructed a short-term artist residency. And during my time there, not only have I been documenting through photo and video and material, I've also been recording sound, and through that, recording the stories of people that have just kind of arrived to watch this fairly well-known, well-loved, long-standing historical public space change. And it's been kind of really incredible to be a bystander and bear witness to the community memory of that. And, you know, one of the things that arts can do is initiate conversation. It seems like there's a lot of curiosity about what might happen there. And while I can't claim to be somebody that can lead a coalition of what that could be, the grant is for a pop-up exhibit that would be $1,000 to gather folks, share memory, process some of the community grief that seems to be coming up around this loss of space, and then also project onto the site once it's filled, which may take some time for it to settle. I think Allo is a little delayed, so I'm looking maybe July, August for a pop-up exhibit, just to let everything settle. Build a cube that images from the 1800s, images from the, kind of the arc of history of this space and this building onto this cube, have folks gather, have some meals. I have pool tiles. People seem really excited about memories of the pool and having a piece of that physically. It seems important also. So, I mean, the early planning stages, but again, the grant was to work on the construction of this cube, materials somewhat to be determined based on the scale and sensing the space once it's raised completely. Right now, it's still in transformation. And there's an in-kind match to the $1,000 that I'm requesting. That would be through volunteer time and volunteers providing equipment. Let's see. And working closely with the county commissioners. So been speaking with Scott, we'll probably talk with them also. And the networking and promotion would happen, of course, later on. I think I've said a lot. Do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a statement to make to you.
Okay.
What an experience you have had to be back there and getting as close as they would allow you to get.
It's been extraordinary. I feel very lucky. They're very generous and accommodating, and yeah, it's been an extraordinary.
And I assume you had to have all the safety gear possible on your body.
Yes, I have a high visibility vest and a hard hat and a whole working man outfit.
Love it. It was great to get home each day and take that stuff off, right?
Yes, yes.
Does anybody have any questions?
So Marilee, one thing we were talking about in our grants committee, like pre-meeting, is that for individuals, our mandate states that we can cover 50% of materials, like only materials. So when I'm looking at the budget, like I'm seeing materials 500 and then marketing 100. And we were thinking that we could possibly count marketing as materials, like maybe if you're making posters or flyers, that we could count that as materials. But the line item that says for contractors, artists, and 1,400, can you speak to that amount? And like, we're just trying to see like how much is the material cost, because we can only do up to 50% of that.
Okay, that's helpful clarifying. Let me look also at, helpful to have eyes on of this. I think that was the matching part of that, was to pay a little bit of my time to pay some of the artists that are going to be helping construct it. And so I think that's where that was coming from, was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So based on what we thought, and like, feel free to, you know, speak back to this, because we love the project idea and we love like, you know, being able to fund the cube that you're going to build. But based on the proposal, it seemed like what we could cover just based on our mandate that's written into kind of the bylaw was potentially just 300, because it seemed like the material cost was 600 and we can only do 50%.
I see. Okay.
So does that sound like based on your budget, am I correct in that kind of assessment?
I think so. Yeah, I think I may have misunderstood a little bit of this budget and what you all were able to provide. But that still will help. I mean, that still is the cube, totally. Like that would be the cube and some flyers for sure. So that would be, yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay, that's good to hear. That would
Yeah.
still be useful to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. And I think, yeah, and there's other creative ways. There are other creative ways to kind of work through what I was projecting for contractors. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Should I speak out about what so the grant committee met, many of you are on that committee. And the grant committee felt that these were all really strong proposals, that they all had merit, they all deserve funding, that they would all meaningfully impact this community. Our unfortunate situation is that we've been asked for $16,000 and we have $7,000. Or a little bit more than that in the budget. And that's just kind of like the unfortunate reality. So the grant committee's recommendation was to fund Marilee the $300, the half of the cost of materials, which we feel like is what is allowable based on the budget, and then to split the rest of it evenly between the other 3 projects that are on the table. So we feel they're all strong proposals, they all have merit. And they're all asking for $5,000. So they're all making the same monetary request. Unfortunately, we just don't have the budget to fund them all. So that's the grant committee's recommendation, but open to discussion and then to a vote, of course.
How much is that?
It's a, it's
The $5,000, how much?
So like they would each be getting about 2,200.
Okay.
So if we have 7,100, is that correct?
71.79.
So if we wanted to spend every dollar, so
Right.
71.79, and Marilee 300, and then we divide that by 3, $2,293.
That's so sad, but I will second the committee's proposal.
Are there any concerns or questions? Okay. Seconded, then we vote. Anyone in favor? All right, done. Great. So I know that's not as exciting because no one's getting as much money as they asked for.
But
And
no
it
one's getting
does-
no money.
But right, no one's getting no money, which is good, I think. It does still have to go through the council, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you're not getting the money tomorrow, as those of you who applied before know. But this is gonna be our recommendation to the council.
So in terms of process, we'll take this to the Business and Economic Development committee meeting on the 20. I don't have a calendar with me. Yeah.
Here.
2 weeks. That's 6, or the 20th.
Okay.
And then the city council meeting, the next city council meeting after that is the 29th, I think.
Great,
And I'll send those dates out to everybody, confirming.
great. All right, I think that concludes the grant portion of today's meeting. If you'd like to hop off, feel free, you're welcome to stay. You can always use more members too. We have a few more, well, just one more item on our agenda to discuss. This was way faster than I was expecting. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. The only other item on our agenda is to discuss our plan for the budget meeting, for the council budget meeting next Wednesday. Don't worry about making noise. You're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I have never been to a council budget meeting, so I don't know what to expect, but my plan is to go.
You also. Thank you. Take care.
I will go and I will bring my notes. I'm assuming like this today, they will give me a chance to speak or ask, or they will ask me questions. Would anybody like to join me? What time is the meeting?
5:15.
Okay, and how long is it?
I don't know what else is on their agenda, so, but I know the other budget meetings haven't taken that long, so. There was one this week.
What's not that long? Just for comparison.
Is this Wednesday coming up at what hour?
5:15,
5:15?
yeah.
I will give you backing, but I won't have to speak, but I'll be there for the
Okay.
support.
Great. We
Yeah.
love
And this,
It's good to be there to answer questions if they have questions,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm happy to attend and speak if needed, or let you take it away or help in any way.
Great.
Is there a sense that we need to advocate strongly for something, or is it more expected that they'll approve what's requested?
I think it would be good to be able to, present, all of the requests, the full budget, and then the additional requests. I think that will be helpful for them, especially the additional requests, just so that they understand the context.
Because we did
So-
ask for a few pieces so there's the calendar piece that we asked for before in a bigger way that was approved in that meeting and then was taken out later. So I feel that we strongly need to advocate for that, but we're asking for a little bit less than we asked for last year. We're also asking for a separate new fund for the sculpture replacement. And then we're also asking for October, so our regular budget, we're asking for a little bit more than was approved last year. But we're also asking for less than we had asked for last year in that bucket.
Right,
Great.
and I think those are good points to make.
Okay.
Should the people who might be going and speaking meet in advance to get our ducks in a row? And if we do that, is that counting, that would probably be counting as a meeting, so we'd have to.
Well, if it's just a couple of no.
No?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
3 is the magic number.
Three is, we're allowed to have 3, and if it goes more, we have.
No, 2, if
We can
it's
have 2.
3, you should be meeting.
Okay.
Well,
So
we
me
still
and Nina
have
are
half an hour.
speaking.
Yeah, I mean, you can, right. go
But right,
over.
if you and I are speaking as chair and vice chair, and anyone else comes to support, then we can meet beforehand to game plan. Great.
I could potentially show up later. My son has practice I have to get him to, but I usually drop him off around 5:30 for 6:30 practice. So I could potentially drop in. I don't know if you already will have spoken or not.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I had the agenda hasn't been
Okay.
posted yet, so I don't know where you are in the agenda.
Okay.
And what is a
send
normal
that.
length of a budget meeting?
Well,
Or
in
how long was the
other,
one last
I
week?
know it really, like last week, I heard it was only like an hour or so. But I mean, it really depends on the number of questions they have or.
Just good to know if 3 hours is a normal.
Yeah,
Then I
I haven't
need
been in the
to
budget meeting that long,
let the
but
childcare know
Right,
how long
right.
I'll be gone. It's just good to know approximately, but okay.
And is the meeting right here?
Right in the
And we come in, because we come in the other.
Yes,
door,
and
we
then you
go
come
out.
in the other
After
door.
hours door.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And it starts at 5. Great. Okay. Any other questions about this budget meeting?
Good luck.
I guess I have a question, just out of ignorance, because I haven't been around that long enough, but, so this would be money that we'd use for the fall grants, if approved.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so we ask for, so there's the separate pieces that I mentioned that we're asking for.
yeah,
And then our regular budget, we ask for 20,000,
okay.
and that's our grant
Going
budget.
forward for the fall
Yeah,
and
so it'll be
spring of
fall and
next year.
spring,
Okay,
right, yeah.
okay,
So this past year, we spent more than half of that in the fall,
Okay.
and so we had less than half
Okay.
for this round.
Yeah, so that might be
something
something
to
we keep in
consider.
mind, like when we get the full, because I think we
Yes.
get excited and they're
Yes.
always so great.
Right.
And we want to like fund them as much as we can, but then we have this problem in the spring where we have great applications again and we only have 7,000 to
Right.
go around.
Yeah.
In some years, in the past, we have said, all right, they're wonderful, but we gotta save half. And we
Right.
truly only given half,
Yeah.
even though we have gritted our teeth in doing it.
Yeah, I
Because
definitely think
we
it's
don't know what we're going to get.
Well, this gives them close to half, 2293
true.
out of a $5,000 request.
It is,
Right.
but
But it's still not
But it
much
would have
money.
been
I
nice to
get
get them more.
Yeah.
But if we had, if we had the three, like if we had 10,000, we'd be giving each of those three an extra $1,000, right?
Okay.
Like if we had saved half of our. Arts budget.
fortunately, we had 4 good ones. One, we couldn't do what we were limited on.
Right.
The 300. Fortunately, but if it had been another 5,000 one, we'd have really been that day.
Right.
I think it's a good thing to add in too, if it comes up that we're getting a lot of requests that are over the amount that we're budgeted. So that, I think that probably is a good arguing point for more money in general, if it ever comes up.
That's a good point. I will take a look at what the total was that was requested this year. So that I have that number in my notes for it. And the total number of grant applications we got, because I think we had 3 or 4 in the fall also. So that'll be good to know. Right, we did just ask for the same 20 because we're asking for so many other pieces this year, but if there's any sort of conversation about giving us less, and that's also why we asked for the additional October outside of the 20, so that we can have some sort of an event without reducing the amount of grant money we're giving.
Especially if they suggest using the 20,000, like our extra asks, just to use that of the 20,000, that would be a good arguing point.
Yeah.
And I think it's always good to reiterate that we're under economic development for a reason. And that the arts are a major part of the city and we are an economic driver.
Especially, and just to say my piece with everything negative that is going on in the city and comments being made online and things like that. And the issues the city's facing, something positive to look forward to. You know, it's just, I mean, I was so excited to come here this morning because at least it's something positive.
No.
It's like, you know, it's something good for the city. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Great. Any other thoughts, questions, things to discuss? All right, I adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone. That was so fast.